on, my fellow Homo sapiens? It's your boy, the legendary Hadou, and today we're reviewing the anime Prison School. Ass, tits, action, drama, and great storyline. This and more coming at you next. Prison School was licensed by Funimation and released on DVD and Blu-ray November 22nd, 2016. A oversimplification of the anime story goes a little something like this. It follows 5 young men going to Hitsumitsu Private Academy that has just became co-ed. They are the first young males to attend this academy. However, the girls are not so accepting of these young men despite their efforts in trying to make friends. Kiyoshi and his friends are met with cold shoulders from the girls. So what's the best way of dealing with rejection? Then a little bit of peeping on the girls in the shower. Kiyoshi and his friends plan to peep on the girls, fall apart, and they are caught by the underground school council. The council is unwilling to hear any excuses from these young men and sentences them a month in prison on school campus where they will endure long, hard labor and torture. Wow! Wow! That's rough! First thing first, you gotta ask yourself, a school with a prison, how bad is that school? Like really, when you gotta put a prison on the campus, that is something serious. So what I want to do first is really kind of focus on some of the characters. I want to talk about the characters I really like and the characters I least like the most, and what characters really kind of contribute the most to the storyline altogether when it comes down to Prison School. So first we're going to focus on the males, and the first person I got to talk about is Kiyoshi. Kiyoshi, he is my favorite character out of all the characters. Not just that, I feel like he's the one character that stays sane throughout the whole series. Now, Kiyoshi is the protagonist of the series. He have a love interest, and the love interest is Chio. Chio is the sister of Mari and the daughter of the chairman. Now, Kiyoshi, I feel like, has some of the best storylines because he is put in some very, very difficult situations that he has to get out, and he always seems to figure out ways to get out of those tough situations. Not just that, he's a really, really good friend. He helps out others, and he stands up to some of the girls, and that's one thing I really do like about Kiyoshi, period. Kiyoshi overall is the favorite character out of the males because he is awesome, he does stay sane, and he is pretty badass. And it's not just that, I mean, he motivates a lot of the boys to do some things throughout the series. Now, the second character that's my favorite is going to be Gakuto. Gakuto, man, Gakuto, that's my boy. First thing first, Gakuto has some very, very funny areas in this anime. I mean, he does some very, very funny things. Now, one thing I will say about Gakuto is that he's the most loyal character out of all the characters in the series. He will do whatever it takes to help his friends. And I mean, there's this one part where he's trying to get Kiyoshi to help Kiyoshi to escape, and they need to get a fart sound. So they couldn't get it on the computer, so he shit his pants, just destroying his reputation, destroying his chance and maybe talking to females in the future. He just shits his pants, destroying his social life so he can record the sound so he can help Kiyoshi escape later on, so Kiyoshi can go on a date and get him a limited edition action figure. It was like, oh my goodness, it was just insane. I was like, wow. There's even one point where Gakuto gets his head shaved so he can give Kiyoshi his hair so Kiyoshi can dress as a girl and escape. I'm like, whoa. Gakuto, he's my man. I mean, hands down, he is awesome. And not just that, he has this way of talking where he kind of talk in old English. It's like Lady Cheery or Sir Knight. You know, I love the way he talks, and he is really, really interesting. Now, my third favorite character is Raji out of the group. Raji, my man. Now, he has a really interesting character design, but I think Raji has some of the funniest areas in the anime, period. I mean, Raji is just awesome. So, what I like about Raji the most is he wants to be punished, he wants to be spit on, he wants to be disrespected, and that's one thing I like about it. He likes the S&M stuff, and he just has the best This is the best comedy, period. One of the best things I like about Raji, one of the parts I really do like is at the beginning when Raji was getting ready to lick Miko's boot. Miko spit in his face. It was like, lick my boot. And he was getting ready to lick it. And Kiyoshi comes in. He stops it. And Raji's like, all pissed off. He's mad. He's like, man, why did you intervene? It was just hilarious. There's even one point where Miko wears clothes to cover up her breast and just didn't punish him at all. And Raji just goes into this lonely psychopath where he just kind of keeps to himself and just kind of shake a little bit. It was just hilarious. And then one of the funniest parts is when they was ordering their last meal. It was just funny where Raji's like, you know what? I want to change my meal. I want to start off with a beating from your rotten crop, been punished by you. Then for dessert, I want you to spit in my face and tell me how naughty I was. I was like, oh my goodness, this dude is on a whole nother level. It was just this hands down funny. He was just hilarious. I liked the character. He just had me rolling throughout the whole anime. The next character I kind of want to focus on is Shingo. Now, Shingo is my least favorite character out of the group. Now, Shingo, he seems like this too cool character. He was friends with Kiyoshi when they was really, really young. He comes in the series and he looks like a badass, but in reality, I just really didn't care too much for his character. Now, there's one point where Kiyoshi escapes. Kiyoshi is caught and the boys are punished with more time in prison. So Shingo goes in, he punches Kiyoshi, and I respect that. Like, I 100% understand that. Like, if I have already done my sentence, I'm getting ready to get out, and you went to go see some poutine, your ass got caught, and now I got to get punished, I can 100% understand that. But he alienates Kiyoshi. He gets all the other boys, and he's like, yeah, let's not hang out with this guy here. He's a horrible person. And I'm like, okay, you know, I can kind of understand that he's pissed off that he was almost done with this prison sentence, and now his sentence has gotten much longer because of Kiyoshi selfish actions. However, there's a point in the series where he betrays his friends, he gives information to the underground school council, then he's out there, he's eating good food, he's going out there, he's sending nipple, he's hanging out with girls, he's going on dates, he's playing games while his friends are getting shitted on and treated like garbage and betrayed. And I'm like, wow, you are just a horrible friend, this period. So once he finds out that Gakuto helped Kiyoshi escape, then he was like, yeah, let's turn away from Gakuto. And it's like, dude, you're turning on all your friends. You're betraying all your friends, and now you're trying to sit back and act like you're the highest person, like you're all high and mighty. So I think that's the main thing I really hated about Shingo, period, because he was just so easy to betray his friends when his friends wouldn't betray him at all. Now, his friends might do some dumb things, but you know, it just really sucked to see how he treated his friends. And now, finally, the final character, Joji. Now, to be honest, Joji, I felt like really didn't add much to the storyline, period. The most things I can say about Joji was he stayed to himself, he coughed up blood, and he liked ants. To me personally, he was the least funniest, and he really didn't do much in the series except one time where his ants seemed to be getting attacked by crows. He came in with a murdering rage, but that's the most I felt like Joji did for the series. He really didn't do anything, and I felt like they could have just removed him out of the series, period, and the series would have went on normal. He wasn't my least favorite character, but at the same time, he really didn't do anything to stand out. He was just kind of there. Now for the good part. Let's focus on the underground school council. And the first person I want to talk about in the underground school council, my favorite character in the underground school council, is going to be Mako. Yes, Mako, this character here has an incredible character design. I mean, mwah, to the creators of Mako. I mean, wow, she has a great character design. I like her the most. She was just hands down awesome. I mean, she was the Punisher. She's the person that went and did most of the punishment. She was the person that you see most on the screen. She had the most fan service shots. I mean, she's the girl with the big breasts. Before you even see Prison School, I'm quite sure you done seen Mako in some type of art or somewhere. I mean, that's the same thing for me. Before I even knew what Prison School was, I seen Mako all over the place. Statues. She has a very interesting character. She's a very interesting character. She seems more like an S&M type of character. I mean, she's really, really hardcore. She's extremely strong. She's always working out. Now, one thing I will say about this character here is that she is very powerful. And she beats the shit out of these boys. I mean, she pummels these kids down to the ground. And I'm going to be honest, I really felt like it was overkill to a certain extent. Because she was just beating these kids. It was just to a point where it wasn't even funny anymore. It was like, wow, this lit up on them. This give them a break. I mean, she was just harsh to these kids. I mean, she just did things to these kids that was just like, wow. It was just mind-boggling. At first, it was like, wow, okay, you know what, get in there. But then it was at a point where it was like, you really felt bad. You really was emotionally invested in this anime. And you're like, wow. Like, personally, me, I wouldn't took that. I'm going to be honest. I would have got up one morning. She would have came by and she would have caught that shank. Just tap, 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 tap. And I would have kept walking. But, you know, she's really, really beautiful. And I feel like she has the best fan service shots, period. Now, she seems to be fascinated with the head of the underground school council, Mari. She seems to be this want to, what's the word I'm looking for? Want to impress her any way possible. She doesn't want to be a failure. She's doing everything in her power to make her happy. But Meiko is just so much of a powerhouse. I mean, she just destroys these kids. Just hands down. But I think that she has some of the best parts in the series also. One of my favorite parts is the part where she's sitting on a horse and she's just breaking it. And now it's Gakuto's limited distance horse. She's trying to get him to accept this toy so she can prove that he helped Kiyoshi escape. And she's just sitting on this little small horse with her legs open. Then she puts the little man on it and starts sitting on it. I was like, oh my goodness, that's brutal. And another really cool part is in the beginning, she goes heads or tails, and the two boys had to choose, and one choose heads, one choose tails, and she just sits down on the dude's face, and the other boys bend over, and she's just working the dude with the riding crop, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So overall, I think that she's really, really cool. She's really awesome, but I think that she is just too violent, too brutal to these boys. Now, towards the end, I felt like Meiko, when the boys was finally getting expelled, it seemed like she was having some regrets, or it seemed like she kind of enjoyed her time a little bit. It seemed like she was going to miss the boys, but it was quickly overturned as the show went on. So I don't know, did I misread that a little bit? Because there's one point where the underground school council is sitting in the room, they're talking, and the head of the underground school council, Mari, she's like, the boys will be out of our hair, and Meiko just kind of had this look on her face, and she kind of like has a flashback, like, yeah. And I'm like, do she feel bad? Do she not want the boys to go? What's going on with that? But then later on in the series, she just started beating the boys, and it's really, really horrible to the boys, period. So the next person I kind of want to focus on is Hana. She is the head of her karate team, and she is really, really badass. Now, she is not as badass as Meiko. She's not as powerful as Meiko, but she does give off some very powerful kicks and some very powerful hits. Now, she has a back and forth with Kiyoshi, and she has some very interesting fetishes. So, the first thing first, it seems like Hana, when something sexual happens with her, when it comes down to Kiyoshi, and she's embarrassed, she just can't deal anymore, and she's out of the series for a while. So, the first time, Kiyoshi falls in front of her and see her piss. So, she's like, you know what, I'm going to pay this dude back. I'm going to watch him pee. She attempts to watch them pee. They have this scuffle. She slips. Kiyoshi pisses on her. She's out of the series for a little while. She comes back. She's like, you know what? I'm going to watch you pee, then I'm going to piss on you. Then there's a situation where they're under the bed. They're hiding. And Kiyoshi gets an erection. And guess what? Hana can't deal anymore. And she just goes blank. And guess what? She's out of the series again. So it seems to me personally that she's just really, really embarrassed when it comes down to Kiyoshi, or she's just very embarrassed about her body, and she just can't deal when something sexual happens to her. Now, I feel like she does kind of like Kiyoshi a little bit, because towards the end, where the boys are getting out of the prison, and Kiyoshi talks about his plan and what he did and how he took advantage of Hana, Hana becomes really, really angry. It's like, so you kissed me and you took an advantage of me. That wasn't like you like me. You just took an advantage of me so you can escape. And she just goes ham on him. So I really do like Hannah, I mean, she is my second favorite character out of the Underground School Council. Now, the final character I want to talk about is the head of the Underground School Council, Mari. Now, she was a dictator. She really didn't enter into the violence. She really sit back and just dictate what things did and how it was going to go. She was the brains of the group. She is the powerhouse, basically, and when it comes down to sitting back and thinking what's going to happen. Now, she has this thing where she kind of controls trolls and things of that nature. But overall, she did the least. I felt like she did the least when it came down to interacting with the boys. And I mean, personally, it seemed to me personally, she just hated men, period. She just hated the boys. She was a real misandrist. It wasn't like she hated the boys for what they did. She hated the boys because they was boys. She just hated the Y chromosome. She was just a person that just really despised men. And that's something she really kind of did in the series. She just kept saying it and just kept doing it over and over. It's like, you know what? We're not going to be free till we get these boys out of our school. Now, overall, I felt like she really didn't do a lot when it came down to messing with the boys. She just kind of sit back and just did a whole bunch of like paperwork and just had Mako to go out and punish these boys and do all the horrible things to the boys. And that's what basically she did. She was just the mastermind of it all. Now, I kind of want to focus on two more characters. I want to focus on the chairman. I felt like he's the principal of the show. He's the principal of the school. He's the father of Mari and Chio. And I feel like he is pretty cool. He's an ass man. And it seems like he just has some of the worst interactions with his daughter. Every time he's like looking at porn on his computer or he has some pictures or something of that nature, Mari ends up finding it and it's like, ugh, men. So he just can't get a break. And Chio, I think that Chio's pretty awesome. She's a cool character. She is the love interest of Kiyoshi, and she's a pretty lovable character. I really like her. She's kind, she's nice, and she's really cool. Now, my thoughts. So what did I feel about the anime overall, and what did I feel about it before I actually watched the anime? So before I actually watched the anime, I felt like the anime was going to be all about comedy, just a whole bunch of laughing, and these boys were going to go to this prison on campus, and they're going to get punished, and the boys is going to like it. Now, what ended up happening once I finally sat down and watched the anime, it wasn't just about comedy, and it wasn't like I was expecting. Now, I had very, very high hopes for this anime, and I'm going to be honest, I had some serious high expectations for this anime, and believe it or not, my expectations was met. I mean, I was just blown away. Like I said, I thought this anime was going to be all about comedy, but in reality, I got comedy, I got great storyline, I got good suspense. I had some action. It was all over the place. It was just overall great. I think it had a little bit more comedy than action, but it was just overall a great and this awesome series. I mean, there was even times where I was literally sitting at the edge of my couch, like, are these boys going to get away with it? Are they going to get beat up? Like, what's going to happen? You know, I'm just sitting there, I'm like, oh my goodness. I was really invested in this anime. Now, one thing I would say that I really I like some of the storylines that they had, and I would love if they had a lot more storylines. Now, the first storyline I really liked was where Kiyoshi is escaping to go on his date. I felt like that was really, really awesome. Then when they try to get their sentence extended, that was really, really awesome, where they're trying to get into the room so they can get some deleted files. Those type of storylines was really, really good, and I really enjoyed that about the series. Now, if I can come off with some negative criticism about the anime itself, I would most likely say that the anime to me personally felt really, really short. I'm going to be honest with you. Only 12 episodes. I was fiending for so much more. I might even check out the manga and start reading the manga because the anime was just really that short. But overall, this was a great anime. I mean, I was blown away. I was just so happy. I loved the characters. It was really, really awesome. Really, really good anime. I mean, the only things that I can really say negative is it was really, really too short, and I really felt like the boys got a very, very shitty deal. I mean, I felt like they got punished a little too hard. But besides that, great fan service, loving the ass and tits. It was just beautiful. And not just that, the Blu-ray and DVD is uncensored, so it's not like there's this big white bar that's blinding out the crotch shots. I mean, the detail on the breasts and the ass cheeks is just beautiful. Overall, a great anime. So that's all I have for you today. Please rate, subscribe, comment, and share. It really helps the channel. Thanks for watching. Matane.